Okay, on this occasion, I will present my thesis. A title is Spatial Model of Wheel Inline Chains or NDBI in Lhasa City using Cellular Automata Markov or CA Markov. Okay, the background of this study is the changes in wheel upland in Lhasa City according to the high population, with a population of around 188,878 people, making Lhasa City one of the cities that continues to experience development in terms of construction. Therefore, prediction of wheel upland in Lhasa City are very important to do so that various planning for the governance of the Lhasa City area can be planned as early possible to prevent unwanted things from happening in the future. In addition, policy direction for wheel upland are also carried out to see what the factor influence the rate of wheel upland in Lhasa City. Next is formulation of the problem. The first, how did wheel upland or NDBI change in Lhasa City in 2011, 2017, and 2023? The second is predicting wheel upland changes or NDBI in Lhasa City in 2035. And the last is how is the draft policy direction for wheel upland in Lhasa City? Next is research purpose. The first is analysis of changes in wheel upland or NDBI in Lhasa City in 2011, 2017, and 2023. The second is wheel upland change or NDBI prediction model in Lhasa City in 2035. And the last is draft policy directive for wheel upland to be implemented in Lhasa City. Next is conceptual framework. The following is conceptual framework in this study where this study uses Google Earth imagery to create a map of wheel upland in 2011, 2017, and 2023, which will also produce a prediction map in 2035 and policy direction for wheel upland in Lhasa City. Next is the type of research. This research was conducted using quantitative method with a spatial approach, field survey, and interview with experts to analyze the direction of wheel upland policy in city. Next is research location. This research was conducted in Lhasa City, located in Aceh Province, and population and sample. The population in the study is Lhasa City, which is divided into 5 sub-districts. And the sample used in the study is in the form of the pixel that form a spatial model of wheel upland changes, as well wheel upland policy direction in Lhasa City. And the last is there are data sources, which are divided into two, namely primary data and secondary data. Next is research location. The following is a map of research location where Lhasa City is divided into 5 sub-districts, namely Lhasa Kota, Lhasa Baru, Lhasa Lama, Lhasa Barat, and Lhasa Timur. Next is data analysis technique, where in the study it is divided into three. The first is the normalized difference build-up index and supervised classification technique, which is used to analyze build-up lane changes. The second is the Markov cellular automata model and artificial neural network technique, which is used to create wheel-in-lane change prediction modeling. And the last is the analytical hierarchy process technique, which is used to create wheel-inline policy direction. Next is wheel upland change analysis. The following is a map of changes in wheel upland from 2011 to 2017, where based on ArcGIS analysis, it is known that there has been an increase the area of 1,782 hectares. Next is a map of change in wheel upland from 2017 to 2023. Based on ArcGIS calculation using calculate geometry, it is known that there has been another increase in build upland of 653 hectares. Next is prediction model in Langsa City, wherein making the prediction map, we go through 6 steps. The first step is data input. The data input in the study are build upland map in 2011 and 2017. And there are also supporting data such as elevation data, slope data, building Euclidean, road Euclidean, and river Euclidean, which have been changed into raster form. Next step is evaluating correlation. At this step, a correlation evaluation will be carried out on each data that has been previously input. And the next step is area change. This step produces a table of changes in land area in the period 2011 to 2017, and also produce a transition matrix that show the change of changes in each land use. Next step is transition potential modeling. At this step, the artificial neutral network method is used, where the study produces a current validation kappa of 0.82. Next step is validation, where this step is carried out to determine the level of accuracy the prediction model produced, where based on the validation result, the study produced a kappa value of 0.88 with a correctness percentage of 80%, which is included in the very good accuracy category. And the last step is cellular automata simulation. At this step, the 2035 prediction map is produced by increasing the iteration number to 3. The following is a map of predicted change in build upland in 2035. Based on ArcGIS calculation, it is predicted that in 2035, the build upland area in Langsa City will reach 4,729 hectares. Next is build upland policy directive. Based on the framework above, it is known that in order to determine the policy direction for build upland in Langsa City, researchers set 3 main criteria and 3 sub-criteria. Next is consistency value of priority criteria for build inland direction in Langsa City. Based on the image above, it is known that the factor most influences build upland in Langsa City is physical condition with a priority value of 0.663. Next is the condition value of subcriteria for the direction of build inland in Langsa City. Based on the image above, it is known that the most priority sub-criteria in determining the direction of build upland policy in Langsa City. That's the existence of the must be far from disaster-prone area with a priority value of 0.530. Next is conclusion. The first is based on spatial analysis, there have been changes in build upland in Langsa City from 2011 to 2023. The second is the result of the prediction of build upland in 2035 show that there will be another increase in the area of build upland in Langsa City of around 825 hectares. And the last is based of the result of the analysis of build upland in Langsa City. It is known that the physical condition factor with the subcriteria that the land must be far from disaster-prone area is the most important factor to consider in determining the direction of build upland policy in Langsa City. Next is suggestion. The first, for the governments, it is hoped that this research can be used as a reference in planning the governance of the Langsa City area. This is very important to do in order to prevent unwanted from happening in the future. The second is for future researchers. If they are interested in conducting research on build upland in Lhasa City, then research on the analysis of perception and impact of build upland for the community in Lhasa City. And the last is the most important suggestion for the people of Lhasa City is to be more concerned about environmental condition in Lhasa City, namely by not constructing building in disaster-prone area. Okay, thank you for your attention, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, Tania, saya mau lihat ini lagi, apa namanya tuh, hierarkinya tadi, coba lihat, Tania.
Hmm, Ini Pak,
Nggak, satu lagi yang hasilnya, Nah,
yang ini,
terakhir, nggak, grafik.
yang ini Pak,
Grafiknya, tadi kan ada grafiknya tuh yang panjang.
ini Pak.
Bukan, yang grafiknya satu lagi, ada yang biru tuh, yang pakai biru-biru tadi. Nah, ini betul tuh, nah tuh. Ini
Ya,
geser
yang tadi
lagi.
kan yang grafik samping tadi.
Nah,
Ya,
nah,
ya.
satu, ini kan baru angka, artinya baru muncul alternatif ya. Kalau
Ya Pak.
ini kan baru muncul alternatif, betul ya? Ya, ini kan alternatif ini.
Iya Pak.
Kriterianya
Ini
apa tadi?
yang kriterianya yang ini Pak, kebijakan,
Apa tuh?
kondisi fisik, sarana dan prasarana.
Kebijakannya bagaimana bisa kondisi fisik sebagai kriteria gitu, mengembangkan kriteria. Misalnya dia kan mempengaruhi itu ya, nilainya. Apa contoh yang Anda turunkan dari kriteria kondisi fisik itu menjadi
Kalau
alternatif?
dari oh,
Ada enggak dari kriteria itu muncul kriteria kondisi fisik itu? Nah, ini kan ada keberadaan lahan yang jauh dari rawan bencana. Ya, keberadaan lahan yang jauh dari daerah rawan bencana. Terus bagaimana implementasi programnya nanti? Dia kan idealnya tesis itu kan munculnya nanti di bagian akhirnya ada implementasi program. Apa yang mesti dilakukan kalau keberadaan lahan yang jauh dari daerah rawan bencana? Ini yang sekarang yang terjadi kan sebagian besar pemukiman itu adalah berada di daerah yang rawan bencana, kan gitu ya, Tania.
iya Pak.
Nah, apa yang mesti dilakukan? Lalu tanggung jawab siapa?
Baik, izin menjawab Pak untuk
Ya.
yang alternatif keberadaan lahan yang jauh dari rawan bencana menurut hasil wawancara dengan pihak PUPR Kota Langsa. Sebenarnya
Hmm.
untuk kondisi Langsa tersendiri itu kan Pak, untuk tingkat rawan bencananya itu tidak sebesar mungkin daerah-daerah lain gitu ya Pak.
Ya.
Kalaupun memang ada yang rawan sekali bencana itu Dia di daerah pesisirnya, Pak. Tepatnya itu di daerah Langsa Barat gitu, Pak. Dan Langsa Lama karena di situ ada aliran sungai dan juga ada laut gitu kan, Pak. eh, Teluk Kota Langsa gitu, Pak. Nah, untuk di Kota Langsa sendiri, untuk keberadaan lahan yang jauh dari daerah rawan bencana ini, salah satu program yang sudah diterapkan di sini itu adalah, jadi daerah di beberapa daerah bantaran sungai di Kota Langsa ini sudah tidak lagi terdapat pemukiman, Pak. Kalau dulu itu hampir setiap tahun itu dalam satu tahun itu 2 sampai 3 kali gitu, Pak. Tapi um, sekitar berapa tahun terakhir ini daerah bantaran sungai itu dibangun pinggirannya gitu, Pak, supaya juga abrasinya tidak tidak terus melebar gitu kan, Pak.
Oke, oke,
Terus
oke. Itu dibahas enggak? Ada pembahasan itu enggak, implementasi program itu? Kan Anda sampaikan sebentar ini. Itu ada enggak di tesis Anda?
iya, Pak.
Ada enggak di tesis Anda? Itu kan implementasi program.
Kalau
Dibahas enggak
untuk
di dalam tesis Anda?
Untuk implementasi programnya belum ada, Pak, tapi untuk rujukan dari kenapa alternatif ini dipilih, itu sudah ada, Pak. Nah, salah satu rujukan
Itu
dari
enggak. Oke, oke, oke. Itu mestinya nanti diperbaikan. Itu harus ada bagaimana implementasi program. Yang Anda tulis itu kan hanya eh, pakar ya, baru pendapat
baik,
pakar. Nah, implementasi programnya apa? Alternatifnya apa? Coba lihat.
alternatifnya ini,
Apa yang tertinggi itu? Yang paling biru tinggi itu apa tuh?
uh, yang paling tinggi itu ini, Pak, keberadaan lahan itu wajib harus jauh dari daerah yang rawan bencana, Pak.
Ini yang tadi yang Anda sampaikan. Apa implementasi programnya? Mestinya misalnya harus memperketat eh, pemberian izin bangunan pada daerah zona-zona rawan bencana. Itu kan implementasi program itu ya. Anda kupas itu memberlakukan disentif dan insentif daerah-daerah pemukiman yang rawan bencana, merelokasi kawasan-kawasan pemukiman yang sering dilanda banjir gitu. Ya, nah itu
Iya.
mestinya Anda kupas di pembahasan. Jadi bukan hanya sekedar tampilan analisis DAP dengan 0, sekian, bukan hanya sebuah tesis, bukan sampai itu saja, namanya aja tesis. Tesis itu kan mestinya kita harus mensintesa. Sintesa itu kan lebih tinggi ya. Tidak hanya sekedar analisis, tapi lebih mensintesakan dari temuan yang kita munculkan. Sehingga inilah yang menjadi sebuah kebaruan yang Anda munculkan. Ya. Kalau di temuan satu, Anda hanya overlay aja kan. Muncul daerah yang zona rawan banjir. Yang mestinya yang Anda sintesa kan di dalam sebuah tesis, hasil dari karya Anda yang terakhir ini. Ya, nah, ini yang belum muncul saya lihat di pembahasan. Sehingga bukan hanya sekedar tesis saja. Oke, itu saja barangkali Pak Dek. Terima kasih Pak Dek.
Ya, makasih.